Hello and very good afternoon, everyone, and warm welcome to today's webinar. Thank you for taking time out of your schedules to be a part of today's webinar on plastic packaging compliance on the Common EPR portal and what are the changes for PIBOs and PWPs. I'm Rishik. I'm an associate at Research, where I assist stakeholders with the EPR compliance, and I bring in 1.5 years of experience in this EPR domain, and I'll be your host and moderator for today's webinar. And we are glad to see such strong participations from brand owners, producers, packaging stakeholders, and sustainability and compliance professionals, which shows us how crucial an EPR is for a organization. And today we all are here to understand one of the significant developments made in the EPR landscape, that is the plastic packaging compliance on the Common EPR portal. We look forward to this session to not only being a walkthrough of the new Common EPR portal, but also what are the significant developments made onto the Common EPR portal from the stakeholders' perspective, and what are our learnings since last 40 days. So initially in the month of January, we all saw a glimpse of Common EPR portal, post which in the month of May, there were rumors that the old portal would get discontinued. But on June 20th, we all know that the old portal got discontinued, and followed by which in the July the go live for the new portal was initiated. Moving on, I would like to brief you about Research. Research was founded in August 2025, and it's a management consulting firm. And it's almost been a year since we are providing EPR and consulting services across all of the notified waste streams such as plastic packaging, battery waste, e-waste, tire, and we look forward to upcoming waste streams as well, such as construction and demolition and non-ferrous. Research was built on the clear purpose to bridge policy, practice, and technology through data-driven solution that strengthen governance, circularity, performance, and long-term sustainability goals. And at the core of the Research, we have its founder, Mr. Sujan Jain, who happens to be speaker for today's webinar as well. Sujan is the first attempt chartered accountant and an early pioneer in India's EPR compliance ecosystem. He has supervised 400 plus annual returns, and he brings deep expertise in regulatory reporting, credit management, and digital compliance solutions. Prior to Research, he has worked with Fortune 500 companies and global packaging leaders, designing practical compliance and circularity strategies, and continues to be an Indian EPR expert and industry speaker. And these are the services which we provide at Research, which spans across compliance, consulting, credits, and technology. In the compliance services, we provide end-to-end support for registration amendments, annual return filings across all EPR portals, along with training and capacity building sessions to keep the teams updated on the regulatory requirements. Moving forward to consultancy services, we do provide strategic guidance on regulatory impact, transition and fulfillment advisory, packaging footprint optimization, and representation before regulators backed by the compliance and audit and policy advocacy. We also provide credit supports across the entire credit life cycle, from ETP onboarding and procurement to compliance reporting. And lastly, we do provide technological tools to simplify compliance, including automated reporting, data integration, cloud-based dashboards, and traceable digital credit statements. Let me briefly walk you through what we'll be covering in today's webinar, so you know exactly what to expect from this session. Today's webinar is designed to be practical, portal-oriented, and experience-driven, not just theoretical. We will cover introduction to the Common EPR portal, user onboarding on Common EPR portal and linking of existing accounts, lost credential functions and options available, verification of data migration and our learnings, new registration and things to be taken care of, and what are the changes that have been made to PIBOs and the PWPs operation. And without further ado, I would like to hand over the session to Mr. Sujan Jain, who would walk you through the advancement made onto the Common EPR portal. Over to you, Sujan.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. So today we are here to discuss about the Common EPR portal. So firstly, a brief background on how this Common EPR portal has come into inception. So in early March 2025, CPCB had issued a tender on the GEM portal requesting for a proposal for selection of a system integrator or a vendor who will be responsible for operation and maintenance of the Common EPR portal. That tender specifically highlighted, the requirements and future plans of CPCB for regularizing or monitoring the whole EPR compliance across all the waste streams. So, in that particular tender, the plan which the CPCB had highlighted was in the first phase, firstly, there would be a gate that is the common EPR portal, wherein all the portals will be linked, and eventually, one by one, each and every existing EPR portal will get merged in the common EPR portal. And plastic was the first pilot in that. In September 2025, Deloitte was, awarded this contract through the GEM portal. In January 2026, we saw the first glimpse of the common EPR portal, wherein the Central Pollution Control Board had given industry stakeholders demonstration of what they can expect from the common EPR portal. That time, it was just the common EPR portal, that is just linking of the accounts, but the once you enter the gate, the portals, the existing EPR portals were still the same. In February, the CPCB made this common EPR portal live for all the users. The tickers were displayed across all the existing EPR portal, wherein the users were advised to link and log in through the SSO portal rather than the existing portal. Then, after a brief break of 4 months, wherein in between we heard a lot of rumors that Plastic portal was going to transition and the existing portal was going to be discontinued. And finally, on 28th of June 2026, the legacy EPR plastic portal, that is www.eprplastic.cpcb.gov.in, that portal was discontinued, and all the users were suggested to migrate on the common EPR portal. Simultaneously, within a week, the common EPR portal was revamped. The whole UI was revamped. You could see all the notices, and then you could actually see there being a actual common EPR portal which had all the details of all the waste streams. That is not only plastic but battery, e-waste, and all of those stuffs. Again, the users who had registered earlier were given access to their account, but their accesses were restricted only to the registration data. Basic functions like operations, wallets, credit exchange, and annual returns were blocked. Couple of weeks later, the operations module and the wallet modules were made live, subject to the verification. Again, at that time, there was no window for verification, since there was no prior notice of the EPR plastic portal being discontinued. So probably somewhere last month, at the end of the month, the legacy EPR portal, that is the EPR plastic portal, was made operational again, only for the users to take backup and verify the data which has been migrated on the common EPR portal. This is about the brief journey and what we know so far on the common EPR portal. This is the common EPR portal. So if you see, it has now all the operational EPR streams which are there, that is battery, construction and demolition, e-waste, scrap of non-ferrous metals, plastic waste management rules, the tire waste management, and even the used oil management. So all of these EPR workflows or the EPR portals are eventually in the future going to be merged with the common EPR portal, and the common EPR portal will act as a single entry point for all the EPR compliances for the stakeholders. Now, coming to the first step, that is registration. So, on the common EPR portal, the first step is in the registration is to provide the GST number of the company which is attempting the registration. One thing which we have observed here and which is very critical is that the GST number of the state in which the registered office of the company is situated should be provided. I will show you the reason why we are suggesting the GST number of the registered office state should be provided is what we are recommending is once you do that, you get the PAN number and the name of the company, which will be auto populated, and all the remaining details are to be verified manually. Kindly note that the email address and mobile number can be a fresh email address and a mobile number, and if it does not have any relationship with the prior EPR accounts, that is completely fine. But you need to take care that the company PAN number and the PAN number of the authorized signatory should be same with what it was on the legacy EPR portal. It is only then that the portal will allow you to log in, or else the solution also we have recently got some update from the Central Pollution Control Board, which we'll be seeing in the next slides. Second is once you have filled in the user verification details, the basic details like company GST number, legal name as per GST, business type, company PAN number, and the state, and also the authorized person details are auto-populated from the first user verification tab. Now, one thing to see here is if, let's say, in the user verification tab, you have given the GST number of Haryana, then the state or the union territory will automatically be reflected as Haryana here, and accordingly the drop down will also be for the districts of Haryana. So let's say your registered office is in Mumbai, Maharashtra, but you have given the GST number of Haryana. In that case, you will have to redo the process, or you will have to give the registered office of that state. So ideally, see, for companies or LLPs, the registered office is usually something which is recorded with the MCA. So it should ideally replicate that. One more thing, what will happen is because of this error is whenever you opt for any future registration, whether it is in plastic, battery, e-waste, or any of the upcoming EPR streams, the data which is being submitted here at the user verification or the general information tab will be the base data which will be used at the time of registration. So any mistakes or any deviation here will impact all your future applications. So you need to take care of what data is being submitted here. Lastly, you have to upload the PAN card copy of the company. It can be in PDF, JPG, or PNG. And accordingly, a common EPR ID or a CEPR ID is issued to the registering company. Kindly note, in the legacy portal, your email ID used to act as a username for logging in. But now a company is allocated a common EPR ID, which will be the user ID for logging in on the common EPR portal. Once you are registered, an email and an SMS is triggered on the email ID and the mobile number which was given, wherein the PAN number of the authorized signatory is mentioned that a common EPR ID is being created with the PAN number of the authorized person which is linked. Now, once you have registered on to the common EPR portal, the users are required to link their existing EPR accounts on the common EPR portal. So, upon clicking the link button, the system will take you to the relevant EPR waste stream. So, for example, if it is plastic, since the legacy portal is now discontinued, it will take you to the link more accounts page, wherein all the list of accounts which have been unlinked will be populated. For other EPR waste streams, it will take you to the existing respective EPR portals, wherein you will have to complete the login procedure. And once you complete the login procedure, your account will be linked here. So now if you have to initiate a new registration under the plastic waste management rules, you see that you're on the home page of the common EPR portal, you will see the register button. So now there is no other way to register like, the existing EPR portal or anything else. All the registrations will happen only through this portal going forward. So once you initiate the registration and your registration is approved, the account will be automatically linked to the common EPR portal and there is no separate procedure which you need to follow. Until your account is approved, you will have to always go to and click on the register button and then on all applications to get the gist of what are the applications which are pending to be approved or pending to be submitted. For other EPR portals, you have to go to the respective EPR portal, get the registration, then link it with the common EPR portal. For now, this is the procedure. Once you go to link more accounts, list of all the existing EPR plastic accounts which are unlinked will be displayed on this page. So for example, if you the EPR accounts, that is a couple of producer accounts, importer accounts and PWP accounts, which have the same combination of company PAN and authorized person PAN will be linked or will be displayed here. To link an existing account with the CEPR ID, you must click on the verify button. Once you click on the verify button, two separate OTPs are triggered. With these OTPs are sent to the email ID and the mobile number which have been linked on the earlier portal. So let's say my email ID was sujain-@gmail.com. and my mobile number on the earlier portal was 99999, the OTP will come to that, irrespective of whatever mobile number or email ID you have submitted at the time of creation of the CEPR ID. Once both the OTPs are successfully verified, the existing plastic account will be linked to the user's CEPR ID, and then from the home portal they can access that account. So once you have linked your account on the home tab, you'll see something like this, wherein earlier the buttons were link and register, and now the buttons changed to open and register. So whatever accounts you have linked, the account will be displayed under the open tab, wherein the role of the login entity, the email ID through which they had created the account on the legacy portal, and also when you hover on the home button, you will be able to see the address of that plant. So let's say you have multiple plants. In that case, for identification purposes, you can use the email ID or the address of the plant to identify which of the account you have to log in. Also within the plant also you have the option to select the unit, so by that way also you have to select or you have to do the data entry. Now, one of the important procedure was lost credentials. So today morning only we have seen that there were certain changes which were made on the lost credential tab, wherein two new SOPs were brought in by the Central Pollution Control Board, which were uploaded in the Common EPR portal. The first was that there were now two options can, initiate the request of lost credentials. First is the plastic waste management portal, that is the legacy EPR plastic waste management portal, and second is on the common EPR portal. When we tried, raising a request on the legacy EPR plastic waste management portal, while the operations seem to be visible, you cannot go to the next stage due to some errors. So probably they are still working on it, but we have been to the 4 to 5 p.m. meetings which the Central Pollution Control Board has taken, and there have been a lot of queries by the stakeholders on how they can do it, because obviously a lot of stakeholders might not remember the PAN number, or their PAN numbers must have been incorrect. They will not have the access to the old mobile number or the email IDs which were there. So because of that, the Central Pollution Control Board has come out with this option. Secondly, there has been an additional option of changing only the authorized signatory. So a lot of times what we also suggest to company is that there should be a generic email ID through which the users can log in and the mobile number, but the authorized person can keep on changing. Earlier, what used to happen is that when you raise a request for lost credentials, you had to change your email ID or your mobile number in order to change the authorized signatory. But the CPCB has, taken in consideration the feedback which has been provided to them, and they have enabled an option of only changing the authorized signatory. So there are two steps in this. Firstly, you have to affirmatively confirm whether you want to change the authorized signatory or not. And secondly, you have to also confirm whether the authorized signatory is to be changed with the email ID or with the phone number, or both, or only the PAN has to be changed. Then the two SOPs which were issued today morning. So first SOP, it addressed the changes on the common EPR portal, and the second SOP was addressing the changes which are to be made on the legacy EPR plastic portal. So first we'll take to you through the common EPR portal. So firstly, how do you raise a request for lost credentials? You can go to the grievance, or also on the login page, there is a button or a tab for lost credentials. You have to probably hover and click over that. Firstly, if you want to change your authorized person, mobile number, or email ID on the common EPR portal. So this is essentially for the users who have already created their common EPR portal with the old authorized person, or the authorized person which is not in the company right now, and have already linked their existing accounts. So in that case, what they have to do is they have to, from the drop down, select the common EPR portal. So here you have to select the common EPR portal. Then if you want to change the authorized person, you have to select yes. And if you also want to change the email ID or the mobile number or both, you have to select those options. If not, you just have to select the PAN change option. So what will happen is effectively your accounts have been linked to the existing EPR portal with a authorized person who is not available in the company, and you have to change that authorized person. Second is that you have entered a long PAN number of the authorized person, or the email ID or mobile number of the legacy portal is not accessible to you guys. In that case, you will have to make the change on the legacy EPR plastic portal or the legacy plastic waste management portal. In that case, there is a new step which you have to do is firstly, you have to create a new SSO portal login, that is a new CEPR ID with the same company PAN number. So let's say I was the authorized signatory for company A on the Legacy EPR portal, and now Rishik has become the authorized signatory post the transition. In that case, the PAN number of the company will remain the same. When you are creating the new account on the Common EPR portal, you will enter the company PAN number and you will update Rishik's PAN number and his mobile number and email ID. Once you have done that, you will go to the lost credentials wherein you will select EPR plastic from the drop down. You will select what you want to change, whether you want to just change the authorized signatory or you want to change the mobile number and email ID. Or if you don't want to change the authorized signatory, you just want to change the mobile number and email ID. That is also something which can be done. Once you have done that, then again you have to submit all the documents, basically affidavit, PAN, GST, EPR registration certificate, and authorized letter from the company and an authorized affidavit. The Central Pollution Control Board has given a format for the notarized affidavit, but they have not given a format for the authorization letter. So companies are free to, use the format which they wish to. But we suggest that they should, give the story of what they want to change and why they want to change in the authorization letter. Once you have done that, you have to submit all the documents online as well as post the affidavit and all the other documents to the Central Pollution Control Board office to UPC Division 2. CPCB will review the same and they will issue a verification email which will come to the new or the updated email ID and the mobile number. The user has to give key in their OTPs which they have received, and then the credentials will be updated whether it is on the common EPR portal or the legacy EPR portal. So I guess now it becomes very clear for the industry stakeholders on how they have to proceed with so many issues which were arising out of the linking, or a lot of users were not able to link their accounts on the common EPR portal because of this reason. So I hope it is now clear. Now, once you have registered on the Common EPR portal, you have linked your accounts on the Common EPR portal. Now you have to start with the data verification. So in data verification, the first step is to verify the data of the registration details. So whatever details you had submitted at the time of registration, that is the that you have to verify first. And once you have done that, you will go to verify the operations and wallet data. So this is how the portal will look like once you have registered on the Common EPR portal and you have selected a particular account. So it will give you your balance of the wallets. It will, there is an option of trade which is probably for the EPR ATP, the statuses of the grievance, any environmental compensation which is there. You can see all the tabs also here. Probably these tabs are the same as what they were, in the earlier EPR portal, other than the appeal management, which is something new, which, we are yet to hear of what it is. So how do you verify or initiate the verification request? So you click on all applications, which is there on the top. Once you have done that, you click on the I button. Once you click on that I button, you will see the whole registration application, and you have to verify the whole registration application. There is a whole verification checklist with, wherein you have submitted all the details or not, like the registration certificate is visible to you, the documents which you had uploaded at the time of registrations, whether they are visible to you or not. The same way, once you have verified the registration data, you have to also verify the operations and the PIBO operations data for both PIBOs and PWPs. Basically, you have to, for PIBOs, you have to verify all the procurement and sales data which you had uploaded in the previous portals. PWPs, they also have to check their production data. So currently, as you are aware, whenever we were uploading or any producer was uploading their sales data, the posting was done by the date on which the sales entry is made on the portal. So for the legacy data, what the guidance manual suggests is that the companies should use the financial year filter only. PWPs can also filter it year wise or month wise. The total button is not yet activated, so users will have to click on each category and verify the data. In the same way, the users also have to approve or verify their wallet. So now the initially on the Legacy EPR portal, we were seeing around 8 to 10, boxes or wallet cards which were there. Now what they have done is they have bifurcated it into recycling, end of life, UREP, that is use of recycled plastic, and reuse. So you will have to select from the drop down each category, verify the debit credit generation of EPR certificates tab. You'll have to also verify the available certificates, wherein the certificate IDs and all are mentioned, whether your certificates are flagged or not. And finally, the filing transaction. Filing transaction means the credits which you have given at the time of annual report reporting, but this is only for PIBOs, not for PWPs. Now, what happens, or what our observations were from the data verification exercise which we have done at that for our clients is that the two financial years which were considered for registration were different. So let's say we had registered in March 24. So the two financial years for us would have been 2022-23 and 21-22. But the portal is showing something else. So that was one error which we had seen. Minimum recycling target was something which was reflecting for 22-23 and 23-24, while the targets were actually starting for 24-25. So probably there could be a linking error, which or linking or a formula error which they had the CPCB has from their end. Um, the entries of recycled plastic posted by the registered PWPs were not visible in the producer's account. This is something which was concerning, but we understand that the PWP's data is still getting migrated. So that could be a possible reason why you could not see the PWP's data on the portal. Documents uploaded at the time of registration were not available for download. Recycle content potential generated is inconsistent. So some users are seeing that the potential which is generated is only for unregistered entities. Some are seeing for all the quantities for which they had sold. And for very less of the clients, we had also seen that the payment details are not matching. So let's say on the Legacy EPR portal, the payment was successful, but here the payment is still pending. So these are some issues which are there, but the way you have to proceed with this, that you have to verify each and every parameter, and there is an option to select no. Once you select no, you have to record the error, you have to give the proof, and you have to submit that data. So if there is no error in the registration details, you will be automatically be proceeding to the operations and the wallet data. If your operations and wallet data are also submitted for verification, then all your transactions will be enabled in 2 hours. That is what the guidance manual says. And if there are any errors found, you are halted at that particular stage only. But one thing which I found a little tricky is that whenever you raise any grievance through the verify portal, you do not get any acknowledgement of the query which is being raised. So what we are suggesting is while you do this whole verify exercise, you also raise a grievance through the grievance portal on the grievance tab which is available. So if you see there is a grievance tab here, so through that also we suggest that you raise a query or a grievance that this data is not being reflecting correctly in your account, so that there is a return record of the discrepancy which you have observed. Now coming to new registration. So the reason why we were suggesting that at the time of registration on the Common EPR portal, the data which is submitted should be keyed in very well. The reason for that was when you initiate any new application. So, for example, a lot of producer companies will now register as a importer of plastic raw materials, or maybe on any other EPR portal like construction or demolition waste. All these details which are highlighted in red, they are auto-populated and you cannot edit that. Even the details of authorized signatories will be taken from the data which was provided at the time of registration. While the unit specific data, this can be edited. So you can edit the unit address or the unit GST number, but you cannot edit these data. You can only upload the supporting documents here. So be very careful while submitting the data which you are submitting at the time of registration on the Common EPR portal. Second, and one of the I feel troublesome scenario which the users were facing was registration as a contract manufacturer. So earlier, what used to happen is that through the amendment of March 2024, contract manufacturers who are doing third-party manufacturing or contract manufacturing for brand owners were included in the definition of producer. But the producer registration application was designed in such a way that it was meant for producers or manufacturers of plastic packaging. Essentially, the challenge was that when a contract manufacturer used to register on the portal, the total production capacity which that contract manufacturer would have is not of plastic packaging, but let's say of the oil or the food products or the soap or the personal care products which they are manufacturing. So, in that case, it was very difficult for the industry stakeholders as well as the State Pollution Control Board officers to verify these details. So, what has now happened is when you register as a producer, you are asked the question whether you are involved in third party manufacturing. If you select yes, some terms like total production capacity, does your unit have a production facility? These questions are made non-mandated. So you can choose not to answer these questions and move ahead with the application. Further, in part D, there were details of machinery which were required and even production details. So details of machinery was essentially for what kind of packaging which you are making, and production details is what is your input and what is your output. So let's say you are inputting category one material and you are making category one packaging. So what was your production capacity for that? Again, for a contract manufacturing unit, these details were very difficult to provide because their business is manufacturing of production, not packaging. So now, after the introduction of the Common EPR portal, the contract manufacturers can now easily register on the portal, and it will be now easier for the State Pollution Control Board officers also to verify these applications. Lastly, some of the key observations which we saw, for registrations. First is that consent to establish was allowed to be uploaded earlier, but now it is not allowed. Now you can only upload consent to operate on the portal, and the details of which will be auto-fetched. So if your details and even the validity will be auto-fetched, and if your consent is not valid, you will not be allowed to register on the as any account on the portal. Uh, Secondly, data of reporting of procurement and sales to unregistered producers remain disabled. So you cannot report any procurement or sales to an unregistered producer. One great thing which they have done is finally that they have added an option to report export sales. Earlier, this option was not available. So in a lot of export oriented enterprises, what used to happen was their procurement was 500 metric tons and their consumption was only 50 or even lesser than that because they were 100% exporting outside India. So now that provision, is provided on the EPR portal. For producers and importers, there is no option to upload sales invoices. Earlier, there was the option to upload sales invoice or, a statement or something, but now at the time of registration, that option is not available. And lastly, the validation rule which was there. That is the difference between plastic packaging consumed and procured should be within the range of plus or minus 40%, which was applicable post registration, is now mandated at the time of registration also. What this essentially means is, let's say you are reporting a consumption of 100 metric ton, then your procurement has to be within the range of 60 to 140 metric ton. It cannot go below 60 or it cannot go higher than 140 metric ton. Such validation is not provided for the recycled content. It is only for the total packaging procured and consumed. One more thing. So, let's say you have not linked your EPR portal with the common EPR portal. In that case, your customer or your supplier will not be able to see your name on the common EPR portal. So, let's say you are a brand, Rishik is a brand owner, and I am a producer selling to Rishik. And I have to report my sales to Rishik on the common EPR portal through my plastic waste management producer account. Since Rishik has not, yet onboarded and migrated his account to the common EPR portal, I will not be able to see Rishik's name in as a registered brand owner. So in the PIBO operations, also there have been some changes. Firstly, an option for providing bulk upload has been provided to stakeholders. So stakeholders can upload an Excel sheet. We'll show you a small demo also of how the whole bulk upload things work. One very critical change which the CPCB has done for on this common EPR portal is that they have made the GST e-invoice as a form or a base of reporting. So any reporting which is done by the stakeholders, and if there is any GST e-invoice which is uploaded, all the data or all the validation can be done through that GST e-invoice, and that GST e-invoice will be the base or will be the proof, and whatever data is reported in the GST e-invoice will be considered and not the data reported by the stakeholder. So there are various validations which have been applied or through which the linking of data happens. Further, there is one more option of linking and delinking of procurement entries. So let's say I am a brand owner, I am a producer, and Rishik was a brand owner and he was not registered. So what I do is I in my sales operation report Rishik as unregistered brand owner and I enter my sales entry. But if let's say Rishik gets registered on the EPR portal, or the common EPR portal and the plastic waste management tools, in that case Rishik will be able to link that particular entry to his account. But again, there is a very less clarity on how my targets would be affected because of this. But one thing is clear that for this linking and delinking to work, both of us, Rishik and both of our annual returns should not be filed. If it is filed or the period of annual return filing is over, in that case, this linking and delinking cannot happen. Now, there have been some changes in the reporting requirements also. So, firstly, in the entity type, there have been additions of importer of RM, seller of RM, producer, micro and small. So this basically gives us an idea that the SINP module is still not integrated with the PIBO modules, and that is why the Central Pollution Control Board has given us the option to report such entities as unregistered. Further, in sales, what has happened is that reporting of entry of sales by producer to a registered importer is disabled. Earlier, what used to happen is a lot of producers, in order to reduce their EPR liability, or maybe since the brand owner or the company or their customer had only taken import registration, they used to transfer or report the sales to the registered importer account. But this used to cause a lot of chaos. A lot of people, they used to raise tickets saying that this entry is wrongly entered. A lot of times a micro or a small brand owner who was not required to obtain EPR registration but had to register as an importer of plastic packaging, the sales entry were reflecting in their accounts and they had to take the liability because you could not delete the which have been passed on by the registered entities. So now what they have done is, um, they have blocked or they have not provided the option for reporting the sales to registered importer. You can only report a sales to a registered producer or a registered brand owner. Mobile numbers were previously auto-populated. Now you have to manually enter it. plastic material type, you have been given additional options like PS and all of those things. There are a lot of options which are there, and others is also a category which is still available. Earlier, there was a GST number wherein a lot of people had questioned whether it is a GST number of the customer or the buyer or the seller. But now they have given two separate columns or two separate fields of buyer and the seller GST number. Earlier, we had to report GST paid, but now that requirement is discarded, and there have been four new columns which have been added. First is the total invoice value. Second is the HSN code. Now, HSN code, I personally feel that it is a very good input which the Central Pollution Control Board has taken, because it will help the users as well as the auditors in the future to understand whether this entry which has been transferred is indeed of the plastic packaging, or if it is something else in nature, so that identification can help in the future. And lastly, invoice file name. So this is an option which is there for bulk uploads, and also application number. So earlier, let's say I have five plants across India. So it was very difficult for a company to transfer or to report sales to my plant, because all the company name or all the plant name on the EPR portal would reflect as Sujanjan, 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 Sujanjan. But now they can also collect the details of my application number and key in that application number on the Common EPR portal, and the entry will be transferred to the correct plant only. So we have been, advising our clients to always, uh, rather than taking the certificate number, additionally, they should have also taken the application number, because certificate number is not, it is something which is only being used in the certificate, and it can be used for marking and labeling and all of those purposes. But the portal identifies each and every account by its application number. So now collection of application numbers become imperative for all the stakeholders. Ideally, in the guidance panel, what CPCB has said is that they will be enabling a national dashboard wherein all the application numbers would be enabled, but I guess it is still in development and we might see it very soon. Now, how do the single entry activity works? So first step for doing the single entry is that you have to upload the invoice. Earlier, the invoice was uploaded at the end of the whole data reporting, but now invoice is the first thing which has to be uploaded. So, as we mentioned, that the GST e-invoice, if it is there, it becomes the base of the whole reporting. So, let's say you upload a GST e-invoice. In that case, basic details like buyer GST, seller GST, IRN number, HSN code, total invoice value, invoice number, all of these items, they are automatically populated and you cannot change it. Earlier, only PDF copies were allowed to be uploaded, but now you can upload PDF, JPEG, or PNG. If the invoice which is uploaded is readable with the QR code, it will auto-populate all the details. If it is not readable, or if it is not a GST invoice, then all the details have to be manually keyed in. Procurement date cannot be of the future. That is pretty obvious. And there is a summary which is shown to the user before they confirm and submit the entry. There is also a duplicate control mechanism. So let's say I am selling a jar of a chocolate powder wherein I have multiple components. Like I have a cap, I have a bottle, I have a sleeve. In that case, I can only enter one plastic type, one invoice number, one category, and one date only once. So let's say I have to report cap. Cap is made of PP. In that case, I cannot have multiple entries of cap. So one entry of cap, and let's say the bottle is also made of PP. In that case, will have to combine the two entries, and I will have to do that entry together. It will not allow me to enter a same entry with the same material type, invoice number, quantity, category, couple of times. And one invoice can be uploaded only four times. In the fifth time, it will give you an error that this invoice cannot be uploaded. In bulk upload, while the CPCB has given idea of bulk upload is beautiful, so they have given a lot of checks which are there. but again, the people or the stakeholders have to be very cautious of the preparation of the data, because again, all of these validations, they will, if the data is not correct, they will have to again do the whole validation activity. So on the bulk upload, there is a template which is available on the EPR portal. A bulk upload can only be done for a particular month or 31 days. So you cannot upload all the invoices of a year together. You will have to upload one month invoices. You will have to upload a zip file which will have all the invoices. The suggestible volume which CPCB is suggesting is 1,000 entry, and the file should be not more than 80 MBs, which is what they have been suggesting. So once you upload the Excel sheet and the zip file, and you import the date and you select the preview, the system will read the whole Excel sheet. It will read the whole invoice copy, and it will map it. So when you are uploading any invoice copy, you will have to ensure that in the template there is a column or there is a field called as invoice file name. That should be same, that name should be same, and the name should be available in the zip file which has been attached. So that is one of the preconditions, because that is how the system will understand which line item has to be linked with which particular invoice. In the same way, the application number is also to be provided. That is how the system will understand to which register entity the entry should be linked to or transferred to. Once you upload this Excel file and the zip file and you click on submit, the whole data is phrased, is Excel parsed, and it is displayed to you that this is the data which you have submitted, this is the particulars, and if there are any errors, then that error icon is reflected on that particular entry. So you will have to rectify the error. So up to 200 errors you can rectify on this field directly. So let's say if there is error of date, you can rectify it directly here only, rather than again uploading the Excel file. And you can finally download the Excel file once you have made all the errors or you have corrected all the errors. Once it is done, you have to confirm and submit. What it does next is it does the invoice validation. So then what it will do is essentially it will read all the QR codes if they are available. It will give you a count of how many invoices data it could retrieve from the QR codes and how many invoices data it could not retrieve. Once you have done that, you will have to click on the I button. You will see all the details here. So if you see, there is the option of Excel file and zip file. So here you'll see the updated Excel file. So what will happen is, let's say in the QR, through the QR code, the system has made some changes to the invoice value or to the date of invoices. So you will get the final Excel sheet here. And then once you verify all the details, you have to click on the I button and you have to click on submit. Once you have done that, then the entry will be finally posted. So this is the whole procedure of the bulk entry. So while it is being beautifully made by the Central Pollution Control Board, but again, the preparation of data becomes the key for the whole operations. Now changes to the PWP operations. So basically, there were some changes which were already there on the portal done earlier, but they which have been now documented. So we know that the Central Pollution Control Board, I guess, since December 2024, which was the first time when they introduced the requirement of GST e-invoices. From that time, they have been making a lot of changes for the way in which the credits are generated on the Common Legacy EPR portal. These changes have been carried forward to the Common EPR portal, but now they have some of the changes. I will not say all, but some of the changes now have been documented. So, for example, earlier, already on the portal, whenever a GST e-invoice was uploaded for sales, 48 hours was the cooling period before which an e-invoice can be uploaded on the EPR portal for credit generation. So basically, this 48 hours period is the period after which an e-invoice cannot be cancelled. So that was implemented on the legacy portal also, and it has been carried forward to the new portal also. Also, CPCB has had introduced the procedure of verification of the sales entry and credit generation module. So that whole practice continues. So again, yellow, green, red, all the entries which are there. So yellow is something which is pending for CPCB verification. Green is something which is basically approval of the sales entry which has been uploaded and the potential is transferred to the wallet. And lastly, the red entry wherein the entry is rejected by the Central Pollution Control Board for whatever reasons it might be. So these changes which were already there on the previous portals, this have now been documented. Again, we do not see any documentary evidences for the minimum prices for recyclers for data to be uploaded or the HSN code validations which they have at the backend. So that is again the guidance manual is still what is the CBCB criteria for that. One more change which has happened to the PWP operations is the deletion of the invoices. So any data which is being uploaded by the PWP can be deleted, obviously before the AR is submitted or the window is frozen. Once the AR is submitted or the window is frozen, all the data is frozen for addition, deletions, and edits. But if the window is not closed, in that case, there are some checks and balances which the Central Pollution Control Board has given. So earlier we used to see that I guess very recently in the month of and probably December or January, the CPCB had permitted deletion of sales invoice entry or production entry if the PDF invoice copy was not uploaded for the sales invoices. But now they have gone one step ahead and saying that they have designed some parameters which are very logical enough. So we'll go in reverse. So firstly, sales invoices they can only be deleted if the potential is unapproved or if the wallet category stays above zero. So obviously, if you have uploaded a sales invoices, the potential has been approved for it and you have already transferred the credits which have been generated. In that case, if you request for any deletion, that is unfair because you have already taken the benefit of the EPR credits. So if let's say your sales invoices is approved and you still have the balance in your wallet, then you can delete the particular sales invoices. What essentially will happen is that the potential will also get deleted, or the wallet balance will also get reduced through that quantity. So the sales invoices now can be deleted. It is fair for both the recyclers. There can be human errors which can be made, and it is fair for the Central Pollution Control Board if no benefit or no benefit is derived from the sales invoice, it can be deleted or the benefit can be reversed. In the same way, production, if the output has not been sold, in that case, the production data can also be deleted. So let's say I have no opening stock and I have reported 100 metric tons of sales and I have reported a production of 120 metric tons. So I can be allowed to delete the production entries for 20 metric tons because other than that, I will have to first go and delete the sales invoices. If they are deletable, then I will be able to delete the production invoices. In the same way, um, if the waste has not been consumed for production, then only the procurement invoices can be deleted. So now the chain looks very logical, and kudos to whosoever who has designed it. It's in the right direction, I feel. Now coming to one of the last slides, that is the annual return filing status. So we have received a lot of questions in the Q&A that, when the annual returns would be started. So presently there is no date on which the annual return is going to start. It is presently unavailable as you could see from the screenshot also. And CPCB also on the Common EPR portal has made this as the first point saying that the annual return filing tab is presently unavailable on the Common EPR portal, and the revised filing schedule, along with the required extension for the lapse period, will be given to the PIBOs and the plastic waste processors. Again, here you could not see anything which is mentioned for the SINP module entity. So, what happens to them is still a question mark. Lastly, some open and regulatory portal questions, no clarity for SIMB producers on how their data entry would be done or how their recycled content would be transferred to the respective brand owners. Recycled content target for producers, again, the clarity on how the potential is being generated. What will happen if the registered brand owners to whom they are selling, if they are not incorporating recycled content, how the targets would be generated? No clarity on PET flakes, on how they will be considered. Currently, they are not considered as recycled content or for recycling. In-house recycling on how the usage of in-house waste generated can be consumed for recycled content obligations. And lastly, calculation methodology for calculation of reuse obligations in terms of if a brand is fulfilling the obligations, how will they compute how much have they fulfilled, or what will be the mechanism on how CPCB will judge it. There are open questions which are there. So yes, that is it from my end. Rishik, over to you.
Such detailed and insightful session. And my key takeaways from today's session is that the Common EPR portal has incorporated a lot of feedback from stakeholders, whether be it the bulk upload or be it the registration for contract manufacturers, or maybe the deletion for the invoices for the PWPs. But as we understand, there is room for a lot of development and improvement, and that I'm sure that all of the stakeholders are sharing their feedback to CPCB. Thank you everyone for your active participation and thoughtful questions. And special thank you once again, Mr. Sujan, for sharing such valuable insights. As EPR regulations and portal continue to evolve, staying updated is much more important than ever. So we invite you to join our WhatsApp community to get the timely updates and regulatory insights. And thank you once again for joining us today. We look forward to engaging with you again very soon with an important and insightful session. You can scan these QR codes to join our WhatsApp community, and to start a conversation, you can scan the other QR code which is mentioned on the left. Thank you, everyone.